My golden child sister thinks she can take everything from me, even my baby. Please send help. Let me start by saying that I love my sister, Jenna. She's been there for me through thick and thin. We were raised in a tight-knit family, and despite our occasional squabbles growing up, we've always had a strong bond. Or at least, I thought we did. But recently, something happened that made me question everything. I, 35, have a 4-year-old son, Liam. He's the light of my life. I wasn't always planning on having kids, I wasn't against it, but I just didn't see myself as the dad type when I was younger. Things changed when I met my wife, Sarah, 7 years ago. We fell in love, got married, and after some long talks, we decided we wanted to start a family. It took us some time, but Liam came into our lives, and I couldn't be happier. My sister, Jenna, 38, on the other hand, has struggled with infertility for years. She and her husband, Mike, have been trying to conceive for as long as I can remember. They've gone through rounds of IVF, hormone treatments, you name it. I can't even imagine the emotional and physical toll it's taken on her. I've tried to be supportive in every way I could, listening when she needed to talk, helping her financially when they were going through expensive treatments, and just being there for her. But here's where things started to get complicated. Jenna has always had this aura around her, like, no matter what, she always got what she wanted. She was the golden child growing up, everyone admired her, and in a way, I did too. But there was always a sense of entitlement, like she expected life to keep rewarding her. So when she and Mike couldn't conceive, I think it shattered something in her. Over time, her behavior towards Liam began to change. At first, she was the doting aunt, showering him with gifts, visiting us all the time, and offering to babysit whenever we needed a break. But gradually, her comments became more possessive. She'd say things like, "You're so lucky to have him. I wish I could just keep him for a few days." Or, "If Liam were mine, I'd do XYZ with him." I chalked it up to her frustration with not being able to have kids of her own and let it slide. I didn't want to make things harder for her than they already were. Then, about 6 months ago, Jenna and Mike announced they were looking into adoption. Sarah and I were overjoyed for them. I thought this might be the turning point where she could finally move forward and find some peace. But after a few months, Jenna started making more intrusive comments about Liam. She'd ask if he could stay over for extended periods or if she could take him out for the weekend to give us a break. She even started calling herself Mommy Jenna in front of him, which made me and Sarah deeply uncomfortable. We tried to brush it off as a joke, but it started happening more frequently. The breaking point came a few weeks ago when Jenna came over for what I thought would be a casual dinner. Everything seemed normal at first. Liam was playing in the living room, Sarah was setting the table, and we were all chatting. But then, out of nowhere, Jenna said something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, "I've been thinking, and I think it's only fair that you let me take Liam for a while. I deserve this. You've already got what you wanted, and I've had to fight for everything in my life. I don't see why I can't have this too." I was stunned. I didn't know if I'd heard her right at first. She looked at me like what she said was the most reasonable thing in the world. I could feel the tension rising in the room. Sarah's face went pale, and I could see her gripping the edge of the table. I tried to stay calm. I asked her, "What do you mean by that, Jenna?" She sighed, almost as if I was being difficult, and said, "I mean, you've always been the one who's let everything come to you easily. You weren't even sure if you wanted kids, and now look, you've got this perfect little boy. I've been trying for years, and it's not fair. I'm his aunt, and I love him like he's my own. You know I'd be a great mom, so why can't you let me take him for a little while? I'll take care of him, and you can have a break." At that moment, something inside me snapped. All the years of supporting her, trying to be understanding of her pain, and dealing with her subtle digs at my life choices, all of it boiled over. I couldn't believe she was asking me to give her my son like he was some kind of consolation prize for everything else that hadn't gone her way. I stood up, and in a voice louder than I intended, I said, "Jenna, are you out of your mind? Liam is my son, not some object you can just take because you think life hasn't been fair to you. I'm sorry you've struggled, but that doesn't give you the right to demand my child as if you're entitled to him. You've got everything else you wanted? That's not how life works. You don't get to borrow someone else's child because things didn't go your way." Jenna looked like I'd slapped her. She stood there, speechless, for a few seconds before she burst into tears and ran out of the house. Mike followed her, but not before shooting me a look that made it clear he thought I'd gone too far. Sarah, who had been silent the whole time, finally spoke. "I think you needed to say that," she said quietly. But I felt awful. Not because I didn't believe what I said, I absolutely stand by my words, but because I never wanted it to come to this. I never wanted to hurt my sister, especially given everything she's been through. But how could she think that taking Liam would ever be okay? Jenna hasn't spoken to me since. She's blocked me on all social media, and even my parents have been hesitant to get involved. They told me Jenna is going through a hard time and I should have been more understanding, but I'm struggling to see how I could have handled that situation any differently. Was I too harsh? Should I have been more patient given everything Jenna has been through? Or am I justified in snapping at her for trying to take my son?